Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about the brand new record from Abbath, Outstrider, out July 5th on Season of Mist. The album has 9 tracks, 40 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length album since his departure from Immortal. Before I talk about the album, before I break it down, I really feel like there's two things that have to be addressed about this record. One of them is, to me, this record really solidifies his creative ability, his musicianship. The quality of his work is really on full display on this record, both musically and lyrically. Not only that, his ability to surround himself with a really incredible cast of musicians has really allowed him to elevate his music and to really elevate the quality of his work. I always believe that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and in this record he really surrounded himself of very strong links. Ukri on the drums, Mia Wallace on bass, Ole on guitars. These guys are incredible musicians. And when you surround yourself with incredible musicians that are perhaps some of the best at what they do, you really give yourself all the necessary tools to put a record together that will stand the test of time. That's what you get with Outstrider. All around an incredible record, 8 brand new tracks from Abbath and a BATHORY cover to finish off the record is what you're going to get the moment you sit down to listen to this album. I felt that the album flows extremely well from track to track. It's almost like the record is made up of 9 individual singles. What keeps it all together is the atmosphere that they're able to blanket the record with that really holds the whole album together. But this album has very unique 9 individual songs that have a very unique structure, a very unique identity, a very unique DNA to themselves. So there isn't a sense of repetitiveness from track to track. Every song comes at a different angle, comes with a different approach, comes with a different sound. So that creates a record that's extremely fresh, but doesn't feel disconnected at the same time. Because like I said, there is this one blanket that really covers it all. There's this mood, this atmosphere, this vibe that is able to blanket the whole album and really keep all the songs together feeling as one overall, while still being individual 9 tracks. Each song, like I said, is very different, and that uniqueness of each track is really one of the key components of this album. I really fell in love with the way the album is put together because it really offers a lot of peaks and valleys. Even within the songs, there's a lot of peaks and valleys. There's a lot of mood swings. There's a lot of changes in tempos, changes in style, changes in direction. There's a lot of moving parts on every single track, and then by default of that, you have an album that allows you to have a lot of ups and downs from song to song. Some songs starting off with faster tempos, then becoming a little bit more atmospheric, more dark in nature, then picking up the tempo again. Some songs start with an acoustic guitar, then get really heavy, really dark, really ominous, if you will, and then finishing off with acoustic guitar again. So there's a lot of different things coming at you that really allows this album to feel fresh every time you listen to it. I think I've played it over 10 times. Every single time it feels like I'm listening to it for the first time, because it's very fresh. Every song offers something different. Every song gives you a peak and a valley within itself, and then when you put them all together, you really feel that. You really feel like you're going from a different track to a different track. Like I said, almost like you have 9 individual singles that create the overall sound of this record. Now, the overall sound of this record is really, to me, a melting pot of 2 different genres. And that, to me, I think is the key DNA to Abbath's style and Abbath's sound and his look into black metal. I really felt that this record had a really strong core of pure rock and roll. It's there from the beginning to the last track. It's not always in the forefront, it's not always very obvious, but as you listen to the tracks, you start to notice some pure rock and roll melodies, even solos. Some of the solos, the way they're put together, have that old school rock and roll vibe to them. And this has always been key to Abbath's style of black metal. So it's present in this record from the first to the last track. So you get that pure rock and roll vibe throughout the record, but then obviously this is still a black metal album. So you get these 2 worlds merging together into one record and merging together on every single track. Some tracks start almost as a pure black metal track, then through the middle it becomes almost a rock and roll song, and then it kind of swerves again back into black metal. This is what you're going to get from the record. It really merges these 2 worlds extremely well. And at first glance, while these 2 worlds may seem very separate, they're not. There's a lot of similarities between them. And Abbath has a very unique way of merging them and making it its own sound, its own approach, and really working it well. It really gives a fresh vibe, a fresh face, if you will, to black metal. And his album, this specific album, Outstrider, has that in spades throughout. A perfect blend of rock and roll with black metal that has some atmospheric elements, not a lot throughout the record, but some tracks really have some really cool atmospheric elements in it. But overall, this is a blackened rock and roll album, if you will. I love it from the first to the last track. I cannot get enough of it. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I'm not going to talk about the singles. I want to talk about 3 songs that haven't been released yet, and I'm going to start with Bridge of Spasms. Killer intro to this track with blistery drums and a very blackened, dark riff. The two really offset of each other and really work well to get this song underway with really fast, blistering tempo to the song. On the vocals side, when they come in, the aggression doesn't go away. The vocals add to that aggression, they add to the melody that the song has, and it just gets it channeled into a different direction. So it feels like there's a dip into the aggression once the vocals kick in, but it doesn't. The aggression remains there, it's just that it kind of gets funneled into a different direction. So it's still there, just in a different place, if you will. The dark hum in between the verses really works well. It really adds a little bit of an atmosphere to the track. It really adds a dark embrace to the track, and I really like that. It works really well. It really adds a break. It feels like there's a break at that point, and that humming really accentuates that break. At the midway point, the song really changes its dynamic and nature. It really has a 180 throughout the middle of the track. The riff slightly changes, the mood of the riff changes, and the way it comes at you changes. It's almost like the ocean tide. It really feels like it's coming and going, coming and going, pulling you in, pulling you out. It really has that vibe, that nature to it. Then towards the 1/3 of the song, towards the end of the song, it returns back to the original format. So this is a song that at the end also has an incredible solo that adds a lot of aggression to the song and adds a lot of darkness. And when you see the drums and behind that solo, man, it really makes the solo even more powerful, because you have the drum track behind it, really aggressive, really pungent. It makes the solo even sound more aggressive and darker. Now, this is a song to me that really has that 1-2-1 feel, because the way it starts, the way it ends, and then it has a middle bridge that's completely different from all 2 ends of the spectrum. So I really like that. It's a reflection. This song is really a reflection of what this album has to offer, with the mood swings, the mood changes, the atmosphere changes, the tempos changes. All of these things are present in one track, and that's Bridge of Spasms. It's really a perfect synopsis of what you're going to get from the whole record, which is this feeling of up and down, constant up and down. Another song I want to talk to you guys about is the Artifex, a song that starts off almost like a blackened rock and roll song. It feels, this song overall, while the previous song, Bridge of Spasms, feels more like a black metal song that has rock and roll influences, this one feels the other way around. This one feels like a rock and roll song that has black metal influences into it. So it's a really cool dynamic that this track has. It quickly moves, the song starts off that way more as a black and rock and roll song, but it quickly moves towards more deeper and darker waters as the song progresses. The song has great tempos at the start, and it keeps them moving forward. This is a track that, regardless of how the tempo is within the song, at any point of the song, it always feels like it's moving forward. It never feels like it's stagnant. It never feels like it's slowing down. Even when it slows down, it still gives you the feeling that it's moving forward. There's perhaps a little bit of a dip towards the middle of the song when the solo comes in. There's a solo at that point in time that's very melodic, I would say, and it really makes the song feel very melancholic during that stretch of that solo. So that allows for the song to have a little bit of a dip. But it adds also a pure rock and roll vibe to the track. That first solo, because this song has then a later solo on the track, that first solo really merges well with the style that the song had at the beginning, which is that more black and rock and roll vibe. So this first solo really has that rock and roll, pure rock and roll style solo to it. And I really like it because it really merges well with the overall atmosphere of the track up to that point. The song, after the solo, slows down a bit, becomes a lot more methodic, a lot more somber, and that is until the second solo comes in. The second solo is what I would consider a traditional black metal solo, and that brings aggression to the forefront, changing the song, changing the tempo, changing everything about what the track was up until this point, and becoming a lot darker and a lot more aggressive as it moves forward from that second solo. So I love how the song is structured with these two pieces, these two parts, and it's really well connected. The solos really become the bridges between these two different worlds and really works well for a track like this. Last but not least, Scythewinder. I really like this song, and most of it, the main reason that I gravitated towards this song, first of all, is the relentless, that there's a sense of just not letting go as far as this track is concerned. It has a high octane tempo presence from the beginning almost all the way to the end. It just feels relentless, and I think, in my opinion, the more I listen to this song, the more I feel that comes from the partnership between the guitars and drums. The guitars and drums on this track really work like Siamese twins, and they're just conjoined, and they just give the song such a robust sound. When the vocals come in, it kind of sprinkles a mist, a dark mist over that, over those Siamese twins. It really does. It gives a different aura to the track. This song really weaves itself through these three elements. You have the guitars and drums as one, even though they're two, they're really one on this song, and then you have the vocals. All of these elements are really weaved within each other to really give a song that just has a lot of creativity, it has a lot of momentum, and it just feels like it never is going to stop. It just feels like it's like a runaway train. Now, there's a guitar riff that comes at the midway point of the track, and that's absolutely magnificent. I like what that riff does to the song because it allows the song to kind of lose some steam, but not lose the darkness that it had up until that point. It becomes perhaps a little bit more melancholic, a little bit darker, but it never loses. It loses a little bit of steam, but it doesn't lose the vibe and the mood that the track overall has. It gives it that sense of darkness. Now, the solo on this track is absolutely magnificent. If I have to pick, if you put a gun to my hand and you ask me to pick my favorite solo on the album, my favorite solo is on this song. I really like it. It's just so over the top. It's so well crafted. It's so well put together. Once again, it adds, once you go through that melodic stretch, that melodic riff at the middle of the song, and you get this solo, first of all, that melodic stretch was the perfect setup to that solo, because the solo was complete 180 from that melodic stretch. So you get the guitars, these two very unique and distinct sounds coming at you right back to back. And that to me increases the quality of the solo, makes the solo feel so big, so larger than life. It has such a magnificent impact on this track and on the overall album. I really feel that, in my opinion, this solo is the best solo on the album. I absolutely love it, not just from how it sounds, but where it was placed on the record, in the dynamic that gave to the record. Because following that solo, the tempo picks up, and it almost feels like the four horsemen of the apocalypse are coming at you. The song becomes such that there's the feeling of horses galloping towards you. That's the vibe that you get towards the end of the song, with the vocals on top. Really adds an ominous but very dark vibe to the ending of this track. To me, a track that's really defined by the drums and by the guitars. Overall, the drums really setting the tempos in a lot of the darkness, a lot of the heaviness, and then the guitars with the changes between that more melodic mid-riff and then a solo that's completely over the top and completely changes the song on a 180-degree angle. Alright guys, this is it. This is Abbath, Outstrider, out July 5th on Season of Mist. I want to hear your thoughts on the band, on the singles that have been released so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. And if you're a fan of Abbath, if you're a fan of black metal, you have to pick up this album. I really feel like this is going to be one of the great releases of 2019, without a shadow of a doubt. This is a record that has me glued to it. Like I said, I've listened to this record over 10 times already in the span of a couple of days. So that tells you something. This is a really good record. Pick it up if you have a chance. But first, let me know your thoughts on the band, the record, comment section below. That's what's there for. Alright guys, take care.